The Jodi Arias case would not be complete without the risk assessment that's going to happen in July for the sentencing. So welcome to my new video, Jodi Arias, the Continuum of Risk. I'm Carl Torsmans, former Deputy Warden, New Mexico and Arizona Department of Corrections, and thank you for sharing and watching my videos. Following the comments made on the YouTube videos by thousands of viewers, it's come to a reality that many different people perceive Jodi Arias to be a continued threat or risk to others, whether physically or psychologically. The facts show that in their own informative ways they have identified different risks that are plainly expressed but generally and genuinely identified to be realistic based on the prior behaviors discussed during the Travis Alexander murder trial. Thus, we have to ask the questions that we need clear and concise answers to, if possible. The first question is, what are the odds the additional or new risk will occur? And the second question is, if it does occur, what will the impact be? This is something for the jury to look at as they ponder the options that are put before them by law. A dilemma, you bet. The parameters for this continuum of risk depend on two mitigating circumstances or factors. The first being the conviction and the second being the sentence given for the crime. Since the first factor has already been determined as a guilty first-degree murder finding that's been established, she committed the crime and now a convicted felon. So what sentence will she be given for this crime? The second part of this assessment or analysis, to find a continued threat or risk to others, is still yet to be determined. Jodi Arias faces three possibilities: life with parole, life without parole, and ultimately, if the jury makes a decision of unanimity, she could receive the death penalty. Remember, the decision has to be unanimous. The concept of risk is related to the number of other concepts, including threat, hazard, vulnerability, uncertainty, and variability. This makes workable scenarios complex and tedious in nature. It should also include terms or expectations to the degree of risks. This risk assessment is anything but simple. The jury has a big chore on their hands. Simply stated, the degrees could be levels anticipated or unanticipated events. This is important to sort it out to come to a reasonable conclusion. Past behavior must be a major factor in making the assessment that the problem is fully understood at the appropriate concern levels. You can't overlook anything in this process. It has to take in everything that's already been disclosed during the trial by the prosecutor and by the defense attorneys. This process is anything but simple. Since this case is positioned at the extreme level due to the horrific and severity of the crime, there are high degrees of risks associated with determining or making a determination of final decision outcome of a sentence. The risk assessment should include identifying the problem, hence the criminality of Jodi Arias. Determine the objectives and goals, public and personal safety. Become familiar with the total environment. Look at the entry into prison and potential release from prison. If given life or with parole or life without parole, there are still appeal processes in place that could, in fact, potential release from prison. Study the system. In other words, calculate the impact of various sentencing options and outcomes. Develop models. Include multiple models. Solve the problem. Solve the model. Do it with the appropriate decision of life, life without parole, or death. These are the three options on the table for the jury. And remember, only the jury can hand out a death penalty. You need to identify various feasible solutions to the identified problem. Hence the three options. Communicate the solution to the convicted felon via the jury finding when it's read out loud, and implement the selection solution as the judge will read the juror's decision for the court record. Although it sounds like a simple process, it's really not. You got to review the analysis, and most likely her attorneys and the media will do a review and we'll start working on an appeal. Regardless of what the findings will be by this jury, they will appeal. Recapitulate and summarize the impact. Self-explanatory. The jury must take into account some uncertainties and risks as they're connected and related. Without adding uncertainty, the risk assessment would be marginalized and lose its meaning. You have to legitimize the process by making it mean for something. Hence, there must be an estimate of human and social risk damage and assess the degree of possibility or probability or impact available to them to find justice and an appropriate sentence. I know those are very serious words, but the bottom line is not so simply put, but most complex in nature. For determining the appropriate decision, the continuum of risk must calculate or include calculated subjectivity and challenge those human considerations already revealed in a murder trial. The jury must determine Jodi Arias' moral values, attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors. You might say this is a 360 of the entire process. And again, not simple in any form. She will be judged by a jury of her peers that must add to their risk assessment and must part a final formulated decision based on facts, trial records, testimony, and everything that's been presented up to this point. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, I appreciate your support. Please comment.